welcome to Brightly Storytime. I'm Miss Linda. Today, we're going to read some of my favorite stories about animals. Let's get started. Little Owl Snow by Divya Srinivasan. A chill cut through the forest. Little Owl fluffed his feathers. Something is happening, he thought. Green leaves turned orange, gold, and brown, and then began to fall. Geese flew off to warmer places, navigating by starlight and honking all the way. Dry, fallen leaves rustled and crackled as animals scurried, preparing for the cold. Bear was eating all day and into the night. "Winter's almost here," Little Owl said. "Isn't it exciting?" "Winter's too cold," Bear shuddered. "I'm staying in." "Bear sleeps through all the fun," Raccoon whispered. "You'll see." Bats disappeared into a cave. Caterpillars closed up their cocoons. "Goodbye," Hedgehog called. "See you in spring." And he wiggled into his warm winter home. Little Owl thought he saw a moth. But it was only a leaf in the wind. The forest felt so empty now. The friends were making fog when it happened. Snow! Soon, the forest was blanketed in snow, its crystals glinting in the light. Tracks began to appear. Not everyone was hidden away. Little Owl hopped atop the frozen pond, watching fish swimming underneath. How strange and wonderful it all was. But one night, Little Owl started to miss Hedgehog. "Mama," Little Owl asked, "how much longer till spring?" "Snow is like a special secret not everyone can know," Mama said. "Are you ready for it to melt away so soon?" The forest was very quiet. Little Owl could hear the smallest sounds. Tap, tap. An icicle dripped onto a patch of slush. Mama told Little Owl he would see fireflies again. He would see Hedgehog too, soon enough. Right now, though, it was time to enjoy the snow. Joan Procter, Dragon Doctor, by Patricia Valdez, illustrated by Felicita Sala. Back in the days of long skirts and afternoon teas, a little girl named Joan Procter entertained the most unusual party guests. Slithery and scaly, they turned over teacups. They crawled past the crumpets. While other girls read stories about dragons and princesses, Joan read books about lizards and crocodiles. Instead of a favorite doll, a favorite lizard accompanied her wherever she went. Each day after school, Joan retreated to her bedroom where she studied lizards, snakes, and turtles. She took careful notes, just like a scientist. And on the days Joan was too sick to attend school, tiny toes and eager eyes cheered her up. The reptiles were quiet and watchful, just like Joan. For her 16th birthday, Joan received a most curious gift, a baby crocodile. She tied a little ribbon around his waist and took him for a walk. She even brought him to math class one day. The students shrieked. The teacher recoiled. Apparently, crocodiles were not welcome at school. When Joan grew older, she skipped the parties and dances with her friends. Instead, she sought out the curator of reptiles and fish at the Natural History Museum. There, Joan and the curator talked snake scales, size, shape, texture, patterns, and even evolution. Sometimes, Joan smuggled in her crocodile, to the delight of the curator. He knew right away that Joan was special. But soon, these carefree days came to an end. England was at war. Women took up jobs left behind by men. The curator found himself short-staffed at the museum, so he hired Joan as his assistant. Joan flourished at the Natural History Museum. As a scientist, she surveyed the museum's vast collections and published research papers on pit vipers and pancake tortoises. As an artist, she created exquisite models and drawings for the reptile exhibits. When the curator retired, Joan took over. Men returning from war were surprised to find a woman in charge. But times were changing, and Joan was leading the way. A few years later, the London Zoo decided to replace its old, outdated reptile house. The zoo director asked Joan to design a new home for the animals. Joan knew exactly how to keep reptiles happy. She added elaborate lighting and state-of-the-art heaters that provided hot spots to keep the cold-blooded animals warm. She brought in plants and created artwork that mimicked each animal's natural environment. Joan took extra care designing one enclosure in particular. By this time, stories had emerged of a fierce, man-eating lizard with a long, forked tongue living on the faraway Indonesian island of Komodo. It was rumored to be 30 feet long, faster than a motor car, stronger than an ox. They called it the Komodo dragon. The stories didn't frighten Joan. She dreamed of studying the dragons up close. On opening day of the new reptile house, visitors packed the zoo. They gawked at the geckos. They peered at the pythons. And they marveled at the monitors. But when they reached Joan's special enclosure, they gasped. 2 7-foot-long lizards stared back at them. Real-life dragons. Although the visitors were thrilled, Joan was concerned. One of the Komodo dragons, Sumbawa, did not look well. To the shock of the zoo guests, Joan entered the enclosure. She moved Sumbawa to the reptile clinic with the help of 6 nervous keepers. The dragon let Joan clean a sore in his mouth with no fuss at all. In fact, he thanked Joan by licking her face. Joan thought Sumbawa was brave. The keepers thought Joan was brave. News of Joan and the Komodo dragons spread. Reporters flocked to the reptile house with questions. Had she ever been bitten? Was she afraid of the dragons? What kind of woman runs a reptile house? Joan wished the reporters would ask about the animals instead. Joan cared for each and every creature in the reptile house. From daily health checks to delicate surgeries, her dedication and talent could not be matched. Scientists all over the world read about Joan's research, her clinical skills, and the success of the new reptile house. She became an international sensation. The Zoological Society of London invited Joan to present her Komodo dragon research at a scientific meeting. As Joan took the stage, she wheeled out Sumbawa, sitting freely atop a large table. The audience squirmed in their seats. Joan stroked Sumbawa's head and fed him a pigeon. He ate it in one gulp. Sumbawa wandered through the audience as Joan explained that the reports of Komodo dragons were greatly exaggerated. They could grow up to 10 feet, not 30. They ran fast, but not as fast as a motor car. They could be fierce, but they were mostly gentle. When Joan finished her presentation, Sumbawa returned to her side. The audience erupted in applause. Joan's passion for reptiles never waned. For the rest of her life, she could be found walking or riding through the zoo, with Sumbawa by her side. And just like when she was a little girl, Joan often hosted children's tea parties at the reptile house with her scaly friends. Sumbawa was the guest of honor.
Millions of Cats, written and illustrated by Wanda Gog. Millions of Cats. Once upon a time, there was a very old man and a very old woman. They lived in a nice, clean house which had flowers all around it, except where the door was. But they couldn't be happy because they were so very lonely. "If we only had a cat," sighed the very old woman. "A cat?" asked the very old man. "Yes, a sweet little fluffy cat," said the very old woman. "I will get you a cat, my dear," said the very old man. And he set out over the hills to look for one. He climbed over the sunny hills. He trudged through the cool valleys. He walked a long, long time, and at last he came to a hill which was quite covered with cats. Cats here, cats there, cats and kittens everywhere, hundreds of cats, thousands of cats, millions and billions and trillions of cats. "Oh," cried the old man joyfully, "now I can choose the prettiest cat and take it home with me." So he chose one. It was white, but just as he was about to leave, he saw another one, all black and white, and it seemed just as pretty as the first, so he took this one also. But then he saw a fuzzy gray kitten way over here, which was every bit as pretty as the others, so he took it too. And now he saw one way down in a corner, which he thought too lovely to leave, so he took this too. And just then, over here, the very old man found a kitten which was black and very beautiful. "It would be a shame to leave that one," said the very old man. So he took it. And now over there, he saw a cat which had brown and yellow stripes like a baby tiger. "I simply must take it," cried the very old man, and he did. So it happened that every time the very old man looked up, he saw another cat which was so pretty he could not bear to leave it, and before he knew it, he had chosen them all. And so he went back over the sunny hills and down through the cool valleys to show all his pretty kittens to the very old woman. It was very funny to see those hundreds and thousands and millions and billions and trillions of cats following him. They came to a pond. "Mew, mew, we are thirsty," cried the hundreds of cats, thousands of cats, millions and billions and trillions of cats. "Well, here is a great deal of water," said the very old man. Each cat took a sip of water, and the pond was gone. "Mew, mew, now we are hungry," said the hundreds of cats, thousands of cats, millions and billions and trillions of cats. "There is much grass on the hills," said the very old man. Each cat ate a mouthful of grass, and not a blade was left. Pretty soon, the very old woman saw them coming. "My dear," she cried, "what are you doing? I asked for one little cat, and what do I see? Cats here, cats there, cats and kittens everywhere. Hundreds of cats, thousands of cats, millions and billions and trillions of cats." "But we can never feed them all," said the very old woman. "They will eat us out of house and home." "I'd never thought of that," said the very old man. "What shall we do?" The very old woman thought for a while, and then she said, "I know. We will let the cats decide which one we should keep." "Oh, yes," said the very old man, and he called to the cats, "Which one of you is the prettiest?" "I am. I am. No, I am. No, I am the prettiest. I am. No, I am. I am. I am," cried hundreds and thousands and millions and billions and trillions of voices, for each cat thought itself the prettiest. And they began to quarrel. They bit and scratched and clawed each other and made such a great noise that the very old man and the very old woman ran into the house as fast as they could. They did not like quarreling, but after a while the noise stopped, and the very old man and the very old woman peeped out of the window to see what had happened. They could not see a single cat. "I think they must have eaten each other all up," said the very old woman. "It's too bad." "But look," said the very old man, and he pointed to a bunch of high grass. In it sat one little frightened kitten. They went out and picked it up. It was thin and scraggly. "Poor little kitty," said the very old woman. "Dear little kitty," said the very old man. "How does it happen that you were not eaten up with all those hundreds and thousands and millions and billions and trillions of cats?" "Oh, I'm just a very homely little cat," said the kitten. "So when you asked who was the prettiest, I didn't say anything, so nobody bothered about me." They took the kitten into the house, where the very old woman gave it a warm bath and brushed its fur until it was soft and shiny. Every day they gave it plenty of milk, and soon it grew nice and plump. "And it is a very pretty cat after all," said the very old woman. "It is the most beautiful cat in the whole world," said the very old man. "I ought to know, for I've seen hundreds of cats, thousands of cats, millions and billions and trillions of cats, and not one was as pretty as this one." The Animals' Vacation. Story and pictures by Shel and Jan Haber. It was time for all the zoo animals to go on vacation. The zookeeper walked through the houses where the animals lived and opened up their cages. "It's vacation time," announced the zookeeper. "Now then, everyone please line up to get his travel tag. First of all, here are tags with pine trees on them for the animals of the forest." "That's me," grunted the bear. Me too, said the rabbit. "Ah, the fine green pine forest," sighed the deer. "North Pole tags next?" asked the polar bear impatiently. "Yes, indeed, tags with the iceberg picture for the North Pole," called the zookeeper. "Hooray! A tag for me, a tag for the North Pole," said the seal. "Here is your tag," said the zookeeper, "and try not to be so noisy, if you please." "If anyone would ask me," chattered the monkey, "I would say that the hot, steamy jungle is the only place for a proper vacation." "You're so right," agreed the hippopotamus. "Jungle indeed," sniffed the camel. "Give me the sandy desert every time." "Please, a little less talking, if you please," shouted the zookeeper. "When do we start?" trumpeted the elephant. "As soon as everyone gets his tag. We don't want any mix-ups." When all the animals had been given a tag showing where they were to go, they lined up behind the zookeeper and started off for the airport, where a plane was waiting to take them to the far-off corners of the world. It seemed as if their trip had hardly begun when the zookeeper called out, "First stop, pine forest. Everyone with a pine tree tag belongs here." "Hoo, hoo, welcome home," hooted an owl from her nest in a pine tree. "My fine, green, lovely forest," sighed the deer. "Look at all the trees to climb," said the bear, scampering off. "Just smell that lovely pine smell," said the rabbit, wiggling his whiskers happily. "Have fun," said the zookeeper, "but be sure to be home at the zoo in time for the special party for Mrs. Kangaroo." Sometime later, the airplane flew over an icy land. "North Pole," announced the zookeeper. "This is for me," said the polar bear. "What a beautiful iceberg," exclaimed the seal. "Welcome home," said a whale who lived there all the time. "The mountains," said the panda. "Aren't they beautiful?" "They are indeed," said the mountain sheep. "Mountain tags are for the mountains," said the zookeeper. At the desert, there was sand for miles and miles, as far as the eye could see. A caravan was on its way to an oasis. "Sandy desert," the zookeeper called out. "All the animals with a palm tree tag belong here." "Too hot, complained the penguins. The hot bush country was the next stop. "All animals having sun tags get off here," ordered the zookeeper. "Perfect," said the lion with a smile. "Race you to the water hole," said the zebra to the giraffe. We'll see you at the party, the giraffe called back to the zookeeper, while some people in brightly colored robes waved. Hot, steamy jungle, said the zookeeper. Jungle tags here. Hurry up, said the monkey to the elephant. I see a beautiful tree to climb. Wait for me, called the hippopotamus. Too hot, much too hot, screamed the penguins. What a very long way we've come, said the penguins. Where do we belong? Why, at the South Pole, said the zookeeper. And here we are. Just right, nice and cool, cried the penguins. Some penguins who lived at the South Pole all the time came over to say hello. Two months later, vacation time was over, and all the animals were back at the zoo. I had such a good time, said the elephant happily, but I did miss the children who visit us here. Good old zoo, said the lion. It's nice to be home, said the penguins. And the best part, said the zookeeper, is that everyone is back in time for the party to welcome Mrs. Kangaroo's new baby. Start at the zoo and follow the white dots to see where the animals went and where they stopped on their vacation.
My Little Golden Book About Sharks by Bonnie Bader, illustrated by Steph Labaris. Deep in the ocean, sharks swim. A shark is a type of fish. Sharks have swum the oceans for hundreds of millions of years. They were around long before the dinosaurs. The shark's body, from the inside to the outside, is perfect for swimming. Sharks don't have bones. Their bodies are supported by cartilage. Cartilage feels soft and bendable, not hard like bones. You have cartilage in your ears and nose. Cartilage helps sharks turn and bend easily. A shark's pectoral fins help it steer up and down. Its pelvic fins help keep it steady. Its dorsal fin helps it keep its balance in the water. Some sharks have 2 dorsal fins. A shark's tail gives it power as it swims. The thresher shark has the longest tail of all sharks. Water contains oxygen, which we all breathe. As a shark swims, water flows into its mouth and out its gill slits. The gills take oxygen from the water so that the shark can breathe. A shark's skin feels rough. The skin is covered with tiny sharp points called denticles. Denticles help protect the shark's skin and even keep it clean. Sharks have rows and rows of teeth in their powerful jaws. When one tooth falls out, a tooth from a row in the back moves up and takes its place. It is dark way down in the ocean, but sharks have excellent eyesight. They have a great sense of smell, too. There are more than 400 different kinds of sharks, and scientists are still discovering new ones. Here comes the fastest shark in the world. The short fin mako can swim as fast as 60 miles per hour. That's as fast as some cars drive on a highway. This shark is a good hunter and likes to eat squid and sea turtles. It can leap as high as 20 feet to catch a big fish. While some sharks chase their food out of the water, others find their food at the bottom of the sea. The angel shark's flat body and wide pectoral fins make it easy for it to lie on the ocean floor and snatch any fish that swim by. Like the angel shark, the wobbegong has a flat body, but it also has markings on its skin that look like rocks and frills that look like seaweed. It can blend into coral reefs without being seen. This sneaky shark can creep up on a crab crawling by. Snap! Dinner time. Unlike most sharks, nurse sharks have smooth skin. They can grow up to 14 feet long. Their barbels, which look like whiskers, help them find and taste food on the ocean floor, and their strong jaws help them crush and eat shellfish. Another shark that likes to live near the dark ocean floor is the rare goblin shark. Its long snout acts like a metal detector when a tasty fish or squid comes along. Then, out, out, out slide the jaws. While the goblin shark doesn't like the light, the lantern shark makes its own light in its skin to help attract prey. But the light on the shark's belly also helps it become invisible. The lantern shark shines light on the water around it, making the water shine and the shark look dark. Whoosh! A bigger fish swims by and doesn't see the lantern shark at all. What is that shark with the dark stripes? It's a tiger shark pup. This baby will grow to be 14 to 20 feet long and will weigh around 1,000 pounds. Tiger sharks will eat any kind of fish, shark, or animal it can find. It has even been known to eat pieces of boats, clothing, tires, and books. Sharks have babies in 3 different ways. Some pups are born alive from their mother. These types of sharks can have more than 100 pups at one time. Other shark mothers lay eggs and the babies hatch. Maybe you've come across an empty egg case on the beach. Some people call that a mermaid's purse. A zebra shark lays eggs, but the baby hatches inside its mother and lives on egg yolk until it's ready to be born. At that time, the shark mother gives birth to a tiny zebra shark. The baby is dark brown with stripes like a zebra. As it gets older, it also develops spots, making it look like a zebra leopard. The lemon shark's yellowish color helps it blend into the sandy seafloor. A lemon shark mother gives birth to her babies in the water. She can have between 4 and 17 pups at a time. Here comes one of the most amazing sharks, the great white. This shark can grow to be more than 16 feet long and weigh more than 2,000 pounds. It can smell a single drop of blood. The great white will go above water to catch seals, sea lions, otters, and turtles in its huge jaws. This shark doesn't look like another animal. It looks like a tool. Its head is shaped like a hammer. Hammerheads' eyes are on the sides of their heads, which makes it easier for them to find food all around them. And their flat heads act like metal detectors, sensing fish hiding in the sand. This helps them find stingrays, their favorite food. Some people think that all sharks attack humans. This is not true. The chance that a shark will attack you is very small. Actually, humans cause more harm to sharks than sharks cause to humans. It is important to protect sharks. Deep in the ocean, sharks swim. Who knows what kind of shark will be discovered next?
Baby Penguins Everywhere by Melissa Guillon. Once there was a penguin who was all alone. She enjoyed the peace and quiet of the sea and ice. Yet some days she felt lonely. One day she saw something floating in the water. A hat. And from that hat popped a little penguin. And another. The penguin was happy for the company. But then came another, and another, and another, and another. There were baby penguins everywhere. Now the penguin wasn't lonely anymore. She was very, very busy. And more than a bit tired. Happy as she was, she needed something. Just a minute to herself. Because we all need some time to be alone, though being together is a lot more fun. How Do Lions Say I Love You? By Diane Muldrow, illustrated by David Walker. A hen says I love you to her chicks with a cluck. Swans mate for life 'cause they're truly love-struck. Giraffes say I love you with their necks so long. The nightingale sings it in a beautiful song. The peacock says I love you with his feathers and flair. Horses say I love you by sharing their air. Elephants hug in their own special way. I'm here, my dear, is what they seem to say. Lions say I love you with a purr and a cuddle. Wolves say I love you with a howl and a huddle. Bears like to say it with a kiss on the muzzle. A mama cow says it with a lick and a nuzzle. Mourning doves like to bill and coo, and that's how they say, I love you.
Come back to read more stories together anytime you'd like, or find more books to read yourself at readbrightly.com. Bye.